So this is more just like a kind of, I guess, follow-up of using the Quest Pro at this point now for 8 months, however long ago October to June is now. So a bit of background, I guess. I wanted a headset with eye and face tracking. Originally, I was looking at the Vive Focus Vision before I really knew too much with the whole headset stuff. And then I ended up going with this secondhand. I'm still using Knuckles with it just because I prefer them over the Quest Pro controllers, among other issues that I do have with them for the rare times I do use them. And the other, I guess, bigger thing that I had done is I've taken the headset apart to do the mod where you put silicone around the, or some sort of conformal coating around the IR LEDs so they're not exposed and there's a lower chance of corrosion issues killing the face tracking on the headset. I would say my biggest issues with this headset is I don't like using Space Calibrator or Open Space Calibrator, which is where, because the Quest Pro has its own tracked space compared to using Knuckles and also like your Vive trackers in my case, or if you're using Tundra's, Slime I believe is different. Because I want to use Knuckles especially, I have to use, or ideally use continuous calibration so I can walk around in my space. It'll recalibrate me if I'm far off my center axis, and then I don't notice the whole shifting, I guess you would call it. But I would say my play space is fairly decent for not having like occlusion or weird reflections, generally speaking. But there are a lot of times where it's like I'll be physically speaking like here, but then my thing decides, oh, I'm gonna calibrate you so you're all the way fuck over here or something like that, and it's just like, okay. It happens probably at least once every like session or two that I end up playing, so it is definitely annoying, and it is especially annoying using Knuckles because then when my spaces end up offset, my controllers end up offset from where I actually am. I just had my audio fuck up also right now slightly, which that leads me to my main complaint that has honestly put me off from wanting to even like use VR in the first place for a while, and that's the Meta had update V76 and then later V77, which destroyed, or at least in my experience and just reading stuff in like the VRC face tracking Discord and various posts on Reddit or elsewhere online, V74 and V72 were both okay. However, 76 limited your, even if it's just local. So what I mean by local is you have a device that's on the network, your Quest Pro is on the network, you're streaming from that device to the Quest Pro. Technically speaking, you would think that, oh, it would be able to stream to whatever the limit of, whatever the limit is like of hardware wise that your headset can do. But no, like something in Meta's ultimate wisdom of whatever with pushing their updates out. Apparently it was updating the Android version. I'm not too sure. I don't know enough with that. But headsets like where you could do 400 megabit with H.264 plus in virtual desktop, suddenly you're limited to like 100 at best. So I distinctly remember roughly a month ago, I go to get in and I have it set at 400 H.264 plus just because like it looked a little bit better that way to me. And my headset was just not having any of it. And then changing the H.265 instead, using 150 for that, fixed the issue. But every so often my audio would just be garbled and it would not be a functional thing that I could really use, like what it's kind of doing right now. And then V77 came out and it made it so I could not use 150 and I had to lower it to around either like 80, 90 at most. and I would just leave automatic bitrate adjustment in a virtual desktop enabled, even though it's not technically kind of automatic how it does it, but that way then it's less likely that it would just be absolute horse shit for how it was doing it. The 78 public test channel, whatever the current one is, I think it's 78.1028, which is what my headset's on. I still have issues with it, but it is a lot more consistent. Like, I had my audio freak out a little bit a couple times a few moments ago, but I honestly can't tell if it's because of my graphics card freaking out, because that's usually what ends up happening more often than not. But when it would be the streaming thing that would cause an issue with my Quest Pro, my audio would just be like fucked up for like 2 minutes, and it would just kind of sound like people are talking to me, and it's like reverberated, and I just could not understand anything that was going on until I either disconnect and reconnect my headset, which would temporarily fix the issue, or if I restart my headset, same thing. But yeah, not being able to hear is honestly like a pretty big detriment, and it just like, it's so off-putting where it's like, oh, I want to get into VR, and it's just like, oh, I gotta troubleshoot VR, so I don't really want to get in at this point. And then on top of that, like, the other thing that's still being a problem for me is randomly I'll just get the IPD adjustment on the Quest Pro popping up in the middle of my screen showing 0, when it's like the thing that you push the lenses either further apart or closer together. Like, I know I have it set at my proper IPD, but it's just like, oh, 0. Don't know why it's still doing that, but it just shows up randomly, and it's just in your face. I don't know. A lot of it feels like a love-hate relationship, because it's like, when it works as a standalone headset, not having to have like any sort of cable, whatever, plugged in, it's nice being able to be completely wireless. But when it doesn't work, it is so frustrating, because it's not like the type of thing where, I don't know, you could downgrade to a different firmware version and then just like, oh, like, you don't have to deal with that issue anymore. It's like it's almost like the same sort of pathway as going down like modding a first generation Nintendo Switch, and you're like, oh, I want to downgrade to, or upgrade or downgrade to a lower firmware version from a backup. And it's like, well, you can, but you can't. On the Quest Pro, it's like, it's the same thing where it's like, you can, but you can't. Like, certain ones, I don't know about 76 to 74, if it has a thing where it like prevents you from actually being able to do that or not, but people talk about that, oh, there's actually like stuff that just stops you from being able to do that, and it's just like, why? Like, I know people who, when the whole 76, 77 update stuff was becoming like a spaghetti bullshit, whatever you want to call it, amalgamation, the consensus was, oh, you just disable updates, and then you're not going to have to deal with that issue. Where it's like, if you just go into the settings app on the Quest Pro, disable updates, it's not actually disabling updates, it's just differing them by, I believe it's 1 month, roughly speaking. And the only way that I at least know how to disable updates is you have to set up the Android Studio or Android ADP. I don't know what the term is off the top of my head. But you have to set that up on your computer, allow like the USB debugging, whatever thing on your Quest Pro, plug it into your computer, run some command, which is like ADB something shell, Oculus updater, disable, and then the only way that you kind of know that it's disabled on your Quest is like when you go into settings, software update, it just says checking for updates. It's like a constant pinwheel. It doesn't continue, which it's like, great. Now I can't check if there's going to be a future update unless I look online or see other people talk about that. And the consensus of like, oh, if I enable updates to go and see if updates are actually there, is it going to download it and then like push it at some point anyways? Because is there like a time bomb on here? I don't know. Overall though, I would still say that streaming issue with the bitrate was my main problem that I've had with this headset. There's probably more things. Like I went to use this thing, and just because I don't leave my stuff plugged in all the time, it was completely dead. And honestly, I had probably 2 scares at this point that I thought that this headset died, because I grabbed it, went to use it, I'm like, oh, it's not turning on. Put it on its dock, no light or anything on it. I've got a little USB thing that tells you the voltage and amps that it's pulling. It's pulling less than 1 watt. And I'm just like, that's not really right. Try plugging it in directly, exact same thing. Put it on its dock, hold the power button for a couple seconds. It like blinks the light red, and then it shows that it's actually taking a charge, but it's just like, sure, you can argue that, oh, user issue because I let the thing die like that, but at the same time too, I don't know, like I've had an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 3G that, oh, there's the IPD00 thing again. Like I've had an old iPhone that just sat in a drawer for a decade or like 3+ years, and like, yeah, it was dead as hell. But I plugged it in. Sure, it took a while for it to turn on, but I plugged it in and it actually showed like the dead battery symbol. Or the Quest Pro, like, yeah, it will show the dead battery symbol, but why, when it goes like dead like that, it just doesn't do absolutely anything. Oh, the Quest Pro controllers. Even though I don't really use them, there's still stuff, the couple times I do use them, that I don't really understand. Like, I wish there was an easy way that I could just turn them off and not have my headset turn them on, other than just leaving them plugged in. Because, yes, like I know leaving them plugged in will leave them from actually turning on, but I don't like leaving them plugged in just because they're not something that I'm using. I would rather not have them completely dead, because of how much of a pain in the ass it is. This headset's completely dead to get it to turn itself on. And the controllers are in a similar way, where if they're completely dead, they're a pain in the ass to like actually get them to charge up properly and then be able to connect and do whatever with it. And then on top of that, for the rare times that I do end up using them, it's almost as if like every single time I do go to use them, oh, right controller is updating, left controller is updating. Why? Like, why are there still updates coming to the controllers? Like, I know there's stuff, whatever, that can be changed with them probably, but like at this point, it just kind of feels like stuff's being pushed out for the sake of being pushed out. I don't really know there. The other annoying thing too, like I went to use them, I leave them plugged in, and I grab them, I go to use them, and my Quest won't switch from, I use hand tracking just so I can actually navigate the menus still, even though I'm using knuckles. And I couldn't get them to pair. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll unpair them, connect them again. I go to connect them on the Quest, doesn't work. So I connect them with my phone. After like 1 or 2 times, get the left one to connect, and it's like, oh, controller's updating. Takes like 5 minutes. Finishes, I connect the right one. It connects, same thing, controller's updating. And then on top of that, they connect, and they are stuck only doing gyro tracking, like not the whatever 6 depth of, I do not know what you would call it, like where you can actually move the controller around in the 3D space and it translates to what you see on your thing. No, it's just where you move it, it doesn't move the controller, it just rotates, and it's just like, Why? And the moment I say that, my audio goes like in and out again too. I don't know. Somehow it feels like the longer I've had this, which isn't even a year at this point yet, there's features that have changed or been added, but it's just like it doesn't feel like any of it's being like reviewed or that looked into to get it to the state of where it is now. Like, on top of the whole V76, 77, whatever stuff too, like every single time that the update comes out, not that I use Metalink myself, people have the app or like their headset update, and then all of a sudden, oh, my face tracking doesn't work right. And it's like, why? That's a great question. I don't know either. Or like on the topic with the face tracking stuff, and how I was talking about earlier, like sealing the IR LEDs, which are touching my avatar apparently touches my lip here. If those LEDs corrode and then short out, it essentially just kills the face tracking on the headset. Well, it kills the face tracking on the headset and also kills the eye gaze, or not eye gaze, blinking. Same with like the eyebrows as well, because this is over my head for being able to explain it, but all of it is on its same circuit or sort of protection, rather than it being like two separate areas where it's like, oh, if these die, like, oh, you can still use the eye stuff, but no, you can't. Probably done for a reason that way. I would guess cost is like a big thing with it, but it's just like, given the whole sweat, whatever stuff you want to call it, with moisture on the lower IR LEDs, which isn't a guaranteed thing to happen, but I've seen it happen like at least a dozen times or something like that into the VRC face tracking Discord. I would think that it's common enough that like it could warrant like Meta actually wanting to do something with it, but it's a discontinued headset, and it's just like, I don't know. It just feels weird. A lot of the stuff with this headset, like for what it works, oh my god, the 00 IPD thing came up again. For when it works, it's like, oh, it's nice, but man, is it a painful headset at the same time too. Like both physically to use and software wise. Like when I still remember, like I would not be able to use this without the globular cluster kit, which is a different forehead pad, rear pad, strap over the top. The default thing just kind of gave me like the ultimate migraine, and I could not use it for more than like half an hour. And then on the topic, at least with hardware stuff, I don't know how the Quest Pro microphone is even what it is. Like it just destroys my voice. All I hope is whatever comes with updates, at least for this headset, given that Meta will probably continue pushing more garbage onto it for a little while, that all the issues that I've been dealing with right now and other people have been dealing with, like the IPD00 thing that keeps popping up, my audio is still fucking up on it as well. Although that could also be part my graphics card right now, or something of virtual desktop. I don't know. I just hope that more things get ironed out. But it really doesn't feel like it's going to happen at this point with it.